Gwe, Jalasi, Deluisi Joe Fraser. Hello and welcome. My name is Joe Fraser. My pronouns are he and him. I'm the Director and CEO of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission. And it is my absolute honor and my privilege to welcome you to the 2025 Nova Scotia Human Rights Awards. Those of us gathered in person are here at the Paul O'Regan Hall at the Halifax Central Library in Jibuktuk, Halifax, which is part of the territory of Mi'kmaq, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq Nation, which is governed by the treaties of peace and friendship. Mi'kmaq have made this land their home since time immemorial. They are its past, present, and future caretakers. Despite this, the pursuit of colonialism resulted in stolen lands, encroachment on sacred territory, and oppression that served to advance the lives of settlers at the expense of all Ulnu. It is in the context of this history that the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission seeks to address persistent, systemic, and institutionalized discrimination resulting from the ideals of white supremacy. As we build upon our work to address the harms of colonialism, we do so in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. The Commission's origins are also rooted in the work of African Nova Scotians, who have been present in Mi'kmaq for more than 400 years. Rooted in the history of slavery and legislated segregation, African Nova Scotians came together, coordinated, and fought against institutionalized racism, discrimination, and oppression, which led to the creation of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission. I would now like to invite Elder Deb Eisen to begin today's event with a welcome and teaching. Elder Deb.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a beautiful way to start a gathering with the drum, the heartbeat of Mother Earth. It just gets your heart going and your thought waves going, and it just absolutely makes for a beautiful gathering. So I'm very appreciative of that drum this afternoon. Thank you. I too would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today in the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people, being Anishinaabe, which means Native women in Ojibwe. I am originally from Batchewana First Nations by Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. My 36-year Navy career brought me here to Jibuktuk. When I first came here, I fell in love with this province, and I fell in love with a guy from this province, a settler. So here I am, 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren later, and I'm so honored and blessed to be here and to actually start off this gathering in a very special way. I will introduce myself in my language of the Anishinaabe people, and I'll switch to English, but I invite each and every one of you here to pray in your own way, and pray in the way that is best for you, or use it as a time for your own thoughts and your own inner feelings. Ani bujo nanitemakus and dejanakas nome and gunawe Anishinaabe kwe Batchewana. Creator, we give thanks for this new day that you have given us today. The light that shone first thing this morning helped ignite the fire in our bellies to move ahead with yet another day. And the cool, crisp winds that have blown has helped cleanse Mother Earth and get rid of her toxins. We thank you for all the living things you put here on Mother Earth so that we can sustain ourselves, the plants, the water, the animals, the winged ones. We also thank you for the 4 directions, and we ask that you give us peace in our hearts so that we can work together well. We pray, Creator, for our loved ones who are sick and need your help and strength and guidance in the days ahead. And for our loved ones who are preparing themselves for their final journey to you, we ask, Creator, that you welcome them with open arms. And for those doctors, nurses, firefighters, paramedics, and police officers who work so hard day in and day out protecting our way of life here in Jibuktuk, we ask that you keep them safe. And lastly, Creator, I pray for our veterans, those men and women who are far from home, protecting our way of life here on Turtle Island. Keep them safe and free from harm till they return back to Turtle Island and back to the loving arms of their family and their friends. Emset Nogama Tahomigwich Ahau. Thank you very much, everyone. Before I sit down, I just kind of like to share just a little teaching, a little story with you about the work that is being done by the human rights. And I've been working with human rights now for a few years, and over the past few years has come a long way in equalizing and looking after the rights of all individuals, not just Indigenous, not just Black, but everyone. Everyone who has blood in their body, everyone who is walking here on Mother Earth deserves to be treated with honesty, respect, and dignity, and with the human rights that each and every one of us are entitled to. So in our teachings with the Anishinaabe people, we have 7 grandfather teachings of wisdom, love, respect, bravery, honesty, humility, and truth. Each one provide an ethical framework for Indigenous ways of life and can inform reconciliation efforts by promoting principles necessary for healing and rebuilding relationships damaged by colonial practices. Applying these teachings encourages a shift from individualism to a holistic perspective, fostering a mutual understanding, accountability, and a commitment to the well-being of future generations, essential for addressing the root causes of societal harm. These 7 grandfather teachings are fundamental principles from the Anishinaabe people and are also looked at here in Mi'kmaq by the Mi'kmaq, the Elnu here. Giving individuals and communities with each other and the natural world. The first one is wisdom. Wisdom teaches knowledge and makes sound judgments for the good of the community, not just an individual. Love shows us unconditional love that fosters peace and harmony amongst all beings. Respect is to honor the inherent value and dignity of every individual and all of creation. Bravery is to act with courage and integrity, especially when facing challenges or injustices. Honesty is to be truthful in your actions and words, first with yourself. Humility is to understand yourself as a sacred part of creation, recognizing your strengths and limitations with grace. And lastly, truth is the foundation of all relationships and actions, requiring honesty and accountability. When we put these 7 grandfather teachings together and when we compare them with reconciliation, the connection is fundamental shift in how society interacts with Indigenous peoples, and the 7 grandfather teachings offer a path forward by first fostering trust. The teachings emphasize honesty and truth, which are essential for building the trust that is crucial for reconciliation. By promoting holistic thinking and shifting away from individualistic perspectives, the teachings encourage a holistic understanding of community and interconnectedness, which can help address issues like Indigenous houselessness. Encouraging accountability, the principles of honesty and truth instill a sense of personal and collective accountability for past and present actions. Building relationships, the emphasis on love and respect encourages compassionate and equitable interactions, which are vital for repairing broken relationships and fostering a new mutual beneficial relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. Focusing on our future generations, which is so important for us, wisdom involves considering the impact of actions on the next 7 generations, a core concept in Indigenous worldviews and essential concepts. So I leave you with these teachings, and each and every one of us has a duty, not only to ourselves, not only to Mother Earth, but to those future, our children who are coming behind us. As adults here, we have not done a very good job of preparing Mother Earth and keeping care of Mother Earth to make sure that it's here and sustainable for our children. We need to look forward now. We need to start. It's never too late to start preparing and doing the right thing so that our 7 generations coming behind us will have a safe place to live. Miigwech, Tahoe, thank you.
Good afternoon, all. I am honored to stand here today and present on behalf of the Commission the sacred offering of tobacco grown in our very own office. I'm offering this tobacco to Elder Debbie for her remarks at the 2025 Nova Scotia Human Rights Awards presentation. One sunny afternoon this past May, Commission staff gathered together to share food, laughs, and knowledge. Guided by seed keeper, my colleague, Amanda, we learned of the acts of violence and resistance that saw seeds sown into the hems of ribbon skirts, hidden away for safekeeping, and planted in secret ceremony. As we sat together and learned history, ceremony, and the sacredness of the tobacco plant, we shared stories and giggles, spoke love and affirmations to our seeds, danced them in our cheeks, and buried them in warm soil. Our fingers black with dirt, we wrote our affirmations out and whispered them into our pots. Love, wisdom, peace, harmony, enlightenment, and women. It became a ritual of sorts to come in each day and drop my items off, proceed to our library and outside terrace to check on our babies, to see how they slept, if they had enough water, to shoo the odd ladybug off when it appeared she had had her fill. I would notice names scribbled on our sheet indicating others had watered and visited. I smudged, I sat with, I touched, and I spoke kind words to our tobacco, and in turn, we saw abundance. Thank you.
G'day. I'm Brian Knockwood from Indian Brook First Nation, part of the Sabaganagity Band here in Nova Scotia. It's just about maybe 45 minutes north of here, and it's an honor to be singing the Mi'kmaq Honor Song here for the Nova Scotia Human Rights Awards. Thank you, Debbie, for the opening prayer. And while I sing this song, I ask of you to pray to the Creator of your understanding. Like Debbie was saying, is like when I believe that when I say Creator, I talk about your Creator. We all believe in a higher power. We just have different ways of doing it. And it's those teachings that we get, those good teachings, that makes us better human beings. The words of the honor song, what they say is, let's get together. Let's be proud of who we are. Let's be proud of where we come from. Let's unite, and let's live in the way that the Creator has intended us for us to live on Mother Earth, and that's to help one another. So basically, that's what the words of the honor song are saying. And if you can and are able, I ask you if you can please stand while I sing this song out of respect. And if you can't, that's totally okay. Others will stand for you, Will Allen. Getting me the dominate. Getting me dead, I'm an
Well, Alan, thank you. Brian Knockwood for starting us off in a good way with the Mi'kmaq Honor Song. Thank you, Jordan Upshaw, for sharing that story of the tobacco grown at the commission by our team. Will Alan, Elder Deb, for once again being with us today. We're honored by your presence. Thank you also to Sobaz Benjamin, Khalifa Jallo Hamilton, and Robert Leake, the drummers from home, for gathering us together and really centering us in the power of the drum. Today, we celebrate human rights at a time when the world feels unsettled, when communities in Nova Scotia and across Canada are navigating significant challenges. Standing together and affirming the inherent dignity of each person is more than just a symbolic gesture. It's an essential act of solidarity and shared commitment. Human rights provide a legal framework and the weight of quasi-constitutional law to underpin our commitments, to guide our decisions, and to remind us that justice is something that we create, something that we nurture and safeguard, and something that we can never take for granted. As we honor this year's award recipients, we recognize the power that each of us carry to advance equity and inclusion and justice, not just for one, but for all. I'd like to welcome this year's award recipients, who you will meet shortly, as well as their families and friends and supporters who've joined them here this afternoon. Welcome to the commissioners of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission, whose wisdom and lived experience help to really uphold the Human Rights Act and the human rights of all Nova Scotians. Welcome to the staff of the Human Rights Commission, my team, who work steadily each day protecting and promoting the human rights of Nova Scotians. A warm welcome to the Honorable Mayanne Francis and to Deputy Minister Jennifer Glennie, and to the elders, community members, and friends who are joining us here in person and online. We have worked with intention to create an accessible, inclusive, and decolonized ceremony this afternoon, so I hope that is how you will experience it. The Commission marks International Human Rights Day each year with presentation of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Awards. This year, we gather on Human Rights Day, December 10th, during our third annual Nova Scotia Human Rights Week. First proclaimed by Premier Tim Houston in 2023, Human Rights Week brings together community leaders, advocates, and partners across sectors to highlight the good work that's underway and the important role that human rights play in ensuring that every person can live free from discrimination. Today, we honor those who make Nova Scotia more accessible, more inclusive, and more equitable across every aspect of our shared identity. I would now like to welcome the chair of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission, Shauna Paris, to introduce our first award of the day, which is the Youth Award. Shauna?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. A wonderful day it is. It's my pleasure, and thank you, Joe. It's my pleasure to introduce the recipient of the 2025 Human Rights Award in the Youth category. The Youth Award is presented annually to an individual aged 20 or younger whose work promotes equity, inclusion, advances understanding of human rights, and its importance in empowering youth to advocate for themselves, their peers, and their communities. At just 20 years old, Evan Trefler stands as one of Nova Scotia's most committed young advocates for mental health, inclusion, as well as human rights. A medical science student at Dalhousie University, he has already shown a rare steadiness of purpose. He leads with lived experience, with compassion, and with a clear belief that inclusion and support of individuals living with mental health challenges is a human right that is rooted in dignity, equity, as well as access. His work strengthens inclusion across campus and helps young people support one another while building communities that feel connected rather than scattered. As co-president of Dalhousie's chapter of jack.org, Evan guides one of the province's most active student organizations. Under his leadership, their outreach reaches tens of thousands of students each month, carrying messages of belonging, allyship, and accessibility. He has shaped events and campaigns that bring people together across cultures, identities, and inviting dialogue that feels open rather than guarded. In his work, he helps create a campus culture where every voice is valued and every person feels as though they belong. Evan also serves as Jack Talks speaker, offering peer-led presentations that encourage students to seek help, challenge stigma, and support each other with care. He talks open space for conversations about identity, resilience, as well as community. He makes it clear that mental well-being is inseparable from human dignity and from the real advocacy, and that real advocacy begins with listening. As Dalhousie's first wellness champion across all Halifax campuses, he represents more than 15,000 students and works closely with staff, equity offices, and student leaders to ensure that supports meet students where they are. Through Mental Health Minds Nova Scotia, he is linked with institutions across the province, contributing to a broader movement for student wellness. His projects focus on prevention, early intervention, and the simple act of making help feel accessible. His leadership is shaped by connection, reminding students that they deserve to feel seen and supported. Evan has also represented Dalhousie as a social advocate for Health Canada's multi-substance risk reduction campaign, which engages youth across Nova Scotia in all conversations about harm reduction as well as mental health. His outreach encourages honest dialogue, grounded in compassion and accurate information so communities can be safer and also more supportive. Evan's leadership is both personal and purposeful. He draws upon his own experiences to build trust, invite openness, and remind students that wellness and belonging are rights to be protected for everyone. He does this while studying full-time and working, yeah, he's quite the fella, and working multiple roles, always with a sense of perseverance as well as service. His example shows what youth leadership can look like in our province. It is steady, generous, and rooted in belief that communities grow stronger when we all care for one another. So today, join me in honoring Evan Trefler with the Nova Scotia Human Rights Award in the youth category. His work continues to inspire, and it helps to clear a path for others to follow. So I'd like to invite him to the stand. You have to. You need my stuff over.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission for this award. I am so grateful for this recognition and for the work you do to inspire youth and encourage positive contributions through our communities and across the province. Much of my work in youth mental health comes from a commitment to making well-being feel more understandable, approachable, and recognized as an important part of human rights. As an advocate, I focus on supporting mental health literacy, encouraging peer support, and fostering spaces where every student feels supported and welcomed in accessing the resources available to them. What I've learned through this work is that meaningful support doesn't always come from big gestures. Anyone can play a role in strengthening youth mental health or supporting the people in their lives. It can be as simple as checking in on someone during a busy week or doing something small to help someone feel seen. These everyday actions can make a real difference in supporting someone's life and makes bigger difference more than we often realize. Advocacy is most effective when it's shared. Students, staff, community members, and organizations each contribute in different ways, and together these efforts help create environments on campus, within the Halifax community, and across the province where young people feel supported as they navigate the ups and downs of their well-being. I am grateful to everyone who contributes to this work through leadership, collaboration, or simple, consistent acts of support. Their dedication reflects the value at heart of mental health advocacy: accessibility, inclusion, and a commitment to showing up for one another. Thank you again to the Human Rights Commission for this recognition and for highlighting the importance of youth leadership and community well-being throughout Nova Scotia. I look forward to continuing this work with all of you, strengthening mental health and helping build communities where young people feel informed, welcomed, and empowered to support themselves and the people around them. Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations. He's quite the young man. The next award is presented in the individual category. The individual award is presented to a Nova Scotian aged 21 or older who demonstrates leadership and whose work has contributed to change their community by advancing equity, inclusion, and the value in promoting and protecting human rights. Kevin Hooper represents what it looks like when human rights are lived, not just declared. His work at United Way Maritimes is only one expression of a much larger commitment. Human rights form the ground he stands on and the way he carries himself in every space. His contributions are not performative or transactional. They come from conviction, from accountability, and from a belief that a just and equitable society is possible when people act with integrity. Kevin's commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, accessibility, and meaningful reconciliation is present in every decision. He shows up in community with humility and listens for the rights and listens for the right leadership rather than assuming it is his. He creates space for others when a different voice is needed. He ensures that the work he leads is shaped by people who have lived the issues directly. His approach reveals that principled leadership looks like what it looks like when ego is set aside. Kevin is a lifelong learner who continues to unlearn and relearn and grow in order to serve communities more effectively. He believes deeply that housing is a human right, and he has taken bold actions to turn that belief into real solutions. His leadership has helped create Nova Scotia's first tiny home community for people experiencing homelessness. He has guided the design of a community land trust model for Halifax that is now moving forward with a community advisory committee. He has shaped a new modified shared equity housing model that is about to welcome its very first residents. Wow. He has also served for many years on the Housing and Homelessness Partnership and has helped grow its annual housing symposium into a gathering of more than 400 participants. These are tangible contributions that will improve the lives of those individuals for many years to come. Kevin also understands that human rights require policy change, not only program change. His leadership in creating the East Coast Public Policy Training Institute reflects just that understanding. The Institute was designed through an equity-informed lens that developed in meaningful partnership with the Delmore Buddy Day Learning Institute, an African Nova Scotian-led organization. He knew that those most impacted by the inequities needed to guide the work. The Institute stands as a clear example of how policy leadership can advance human rights. Kevin's influence extends across Canada. He shares knowledge generously with nonprofit organizations and governments so that others can adapt solutions for their communities. He does this without seeking credit. He opens doors, offers his expertise, and shares resources so that others can lead in their own right. His impact is measured not only in what he achieves, but in the way that he achieves it. He is animated by justice, not recognition. Recognizing Kevin is not only a celebration of his contributions, it also signals the kind of leadership that strengthens Nova Scotia and the values that we as Nova Scotians choose to uphold. Today, join me in honoring Kevin Hooper with the Nova Scotia Human Rights Award in the individual category. His commitment to human rights is steady, generous, and deeply felt. It continues to shape communities across the province and beyond. And I'd like to invite Kevin now to come forward to say a few words with respect to receiving his award.
Hi, everybody. Wow. I am truly honored. I am also a little bit muddled in my emotions, to be perfectly frank. It's a bit surreal. You know, I think the strongest feeling I'm having is humility. And I've been told many times by many people here not to go too far into this, but I think it's essential to share the wealth, so to speak. There's a lot of people who are behind all of the work I've been involved in. There's also a lot of people who are doing good work every day, similar work across this province, thousands of people who go unrecognized. And so, you know, to receive this award, I think I'm receiving it on behalf of many of them as well. Thanks. I'm also incredibly grateful. I wouldn't be here without the support of a lot of people. That includes my family, Sarah, Willa, Sophia, and Ezra. Their love and support gives me the motivation to get up every day and try and make community a better place. It extends to my United Way family. Without exception, everybody in that organization is coming to the work with solid values and a commitment to doing everything they can, again, to make the world a better place. Specifically, I want to thank Sue Lapierre and Sarah Napier, members of our leadership team who have entrusted me to do this work, who give me the opportunity to do things I love without compromise, according to my values. That's a rare opportunity, and huge thanks are deserved there. It's also, the gratitude extends to people outside the organization. In recent years, we've worked with partners, I think, that we've aspired to work with in the past, but who have come forward recently in order to lend a hand where they see the need. And specifically, I do want to mention the Shaw Group and the River Phillip Foundation, who don't need to be in this space. But they've taken the role of leadership, they've extended the resources that they have to make possible the visions that we have put forward. And so all of that is a shared effort. All of it is, part of this recognition, and I just want to extend thanks to everybody involved. We've achieved incredible things. There's no doubt about it. We've impacted people's lives in a meaningful way. But in many respects, it really is only the beginning. I say that because there's a huge amount of work to do. There's a huge amount of learning that still needs to be done. But I also say it because a lot of what we've done is very forward-thinking in its intention. I think part of the recognition here comes down to innovation. You know, the courage and the will to push forward with new ideas when old ideas have failed. And I do think that, most of us in this room and across our society have begun to recognize that old systems are just not serving the current need. So we've done our part. We will continue to do our part to innovate and challenge the status quo, challenge areas where systemic failures are repeated and are compounding problems in our society. We're putting forward solutions that we think can create the foundation for improved outcomes and human rights writ large. I think we're in a unique time and space, which presents a great opportunity. And that comes down, in many respects, to the perspective we are getting with the challenges south of the border and around the world, a vision of what can happen if our actions and our impulses are motivated by individualism, competition, and a kind of uncompromising pursuit of advantage and enrichment. Those motivations, those aspirations are anathema to the work we do. They're anathema to human rights. We won't get to where we want to be as long as we put those at the forefront of our decisions and our policies. I truly believe, and I wouldn't be in this work if I didn't feel as though this country, our culture, these communities that we represent, believe in something bigger, believe in something more important than wealth, like just sheer individual enrichment. Human rights are, by definition, in my mind, a collective act. If we are going to make progress, we need to take stock of where we are, we need to decide where we want to go, and we need to work together to get there. So I invite everybody who's directly involved in this work, who has a hand in decision-making, who has resources to bear, or who simply will take the time to recognize the importance of what we do, to step forward and create a better future. Thanks.
The drummers from home. Congratulations again, Evan and Kevin, and thank you, Shauna, for presenting those awards. The next award is the Dr. Burnley Allen Rocky Jones Award, presented annually to an individual of African descent whose work reflects and builds on the legacy of the late Dr. Burnley Allen Rocky Jones in championing racial equality, advancing justice, and fostering socioeconomic empowerment. I would like to invite Rocky Jones' daughter, Tracy Jones Grant, to present this award. Tracy.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Every time I have the chance to do this, I always like to take a couple of minutes and speak about my dad and the work that he's done, because there's a lot of people that may or may not know how involved he was in human rights and civil rights in Nova Scotia. And even when I look out into the audience and I think of some of the work that he did and some of the times that I had the opportunity to be along with him, I'm looking at Her Honor, Miss Mayanne Francis, and remembering all of the work that was done related to the true pardon of Viola Desmond. I have to get it correct because it's more than a pardon, as my dad was always explaining to me. Even when I look at the chair of the commission, and I can remember Ms. Shauna being around through the transition year program at Dalhousie University that my father started. His legacy lives on and on. It not only lives on through his children, but it lives on through the community. And I'd like to encourage and continue to encourage people to do what my father always told me. Even though he was in the limelight and people saw Rocky all the time, he really was the type of person that always had that hand back, pulling somebody forward. And that's really what human rights is about also. It's about bringing things forward, bringing things to the forefront, championing for those who can't champion for themselves. My father died in 2013, and it's been quite a bit of a time since he's passed, but it always brings me great joy to be able to present this award in his honor. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the recipient today. Andre Anderson embodies the spirit and purpose of my dad through a life shaped by truth-telling, community commitment, and a belief in the power of storytelling to move societies forward towards justice. He understands that lasting change begins when people speak honestly about who they are, where they come from, and what must be confronted to build a fair and equitable Nova Scotia. Andre has dedicated his career to ensuring that stories of African Nova Scotians are seen, heard, and understood on their own terms. His work brings forward histories that have been overlooked, voices that have been misunderstood, and contributions that deserve recognition across this country. Through Anderson Films, Inc., Andre uses film not simply as creative expression, but as a form of public service. His documentary, Standing Tall Under Pressure, and A Governor's Journey offer powerful portraits of Black excellence, resilience, and leadership. These works highlight figures such as Senator Dr. Wanda Thomas Bernard, Dr. Kesa Monroe Anderson, and the Honorable Dr. Mayanne Francis. Each film reflects his commitment to representation and his belief that visibility can shift perspectives and inspire new generations, or as I was saying to Shauna earlier, this generation, the generation of right now, to see themselves as agents of change. His leadership extends beyond his artistic work. He mentors youth through the Delmore Buddy Day Learning Institute and the Halifax Connector Program, offering guidance rooted in heritage, pride, and possibility. What stands out most is the spirit with which Andre does this work. His efforts are driven by care for his community and respect for those who cleared the path before him. His storytelling honors the past while opening doors towards a more equitable future. His leadership echoes Rocky's message that justice grows when people act with integrity, compassion, and unwavering commitment to truth. Today, we present Andre Anderson with the Dr. Burnley Allen Rocky Jones Award as a builder of bridges, a keeper of stories, and a champion for human rights in Nova Scotia. Andre's work carries forward a legacy that continues to shape our province and inspire all who believe in justice. I would like to invite Andre to come forward and say a few words to accept your award.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel so honored to be here among all of you. To the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission, thank you. Thank you for honoring Rocky's legacy year after year and for believing in my work and for reminding us that justice is not just an ideal, it is a daily practice. To my community, your stories built me, your resilience shaped me, and your courage raised me. Everything that I am is because of everything you already are. And to Rocky, wherever you are, thank you. You inspire me to be different and to be proud, and I pray that in some way through my work I can inspire someone else in return. This award is a blessing, a responsibility, and a chapter in a much longer story, one that did not begin with me and will not end with me. As you can see today, I am wearing a golden lighthouse. And this is because when I think about Rocky and his impact, I picture a strong and magnificent lighthouse. I picture a tower built on the edges of danger, which shines light so others can navigate safely, so others can avoid the rocks, and so others can find the shoreline that they belong to. Rocky did that for our community. He illuminated paths in a province that once insisted we walk in darkness. He warned us of dangers he had already survived, and he reminded us exactly which heritage we belong to. To Augie Jones, thank you for believing in me. As you said, Rocky blazed a trail so we could do work with doors open that weren't open to them. To honor Rocky is not simply to admire his work, it is to extend it. This award is not a crown. This award is a renewed responsibility. Two of Rocky's teachings travel with me everywhere I go. One is the fight for justice never ends, it evolves. And two, if you want liberation, examine your own mind first. These words shaped both my public work and the parts of my life that others don't see, the struggles, the healing, and the quiet courage it takes to grow into who you say that you want to be. And so I stand here as one wave in a much larger ocean, an ocean of elders, ancestors, youth, fighters, storytellers, and dreamers who refuse to disappear from the map. And being from Nova Scotia, the ocean teaches you something. It teaches you that community is when a wave realizes it is that ocean. When we stop believing we are alone in our struggles or our victories and recognize that we belong to something far deeper and more powerful. When I reflect on this award, it reaffirms a belief in me that human rights do not just live in legislation or plaques, they live in everyday decisions, how we treat people when no one is watching, how we stand up when staying seated is easier, and how we listen to those who have been unheard for too long. And so today I want to make a public commitment. I am beginning the development of a comprehensive documentary on Rocky Jones, a film that centers him. Thank you. A film that centers him, centers our community, and shows the world why African Nova Scotian stories matter and always have. This is my way of carrying the light forward. And to the youth watching this moment right now, know that someone's faith is growing because they see your light. Keep being that light. Keep doing the work today. I am humbled, I am honored, and I am ready for what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, drummers from home. Congratulations again, Andre, and thank you, Tracy, for presenting that award. Our next award, the Woluwagin Award, is presented annually to an Olnu, youth or adult, group or organization, whose work advances the rights of Mi'kmaq or other Indigenous people while creating a just, equitable, and inclusive society. Woluwagin, a Mi'kmaq word, loosely translates to mean congratulations. You are doing extremely well, and your work does not go unrecognized. This year's recipient, Dr. Sherry Pictou, is a leader whose work reflects a lifelong commitment to justice, to resurgence, and to the strength of Mi'kmaq governance and knowledge. Her contributions span community leadership, international advocacy, academic scholarship, and the steady work of teaching others to see the world through relationships grounded in respect. Her career stands as an example of how one person can help to transform systems by telling the truth about history, by lifting up women's voices, and by ensuring that Indigenous rights are understood as human rights. Dr. Pictou has been a strong advocate for addressing racism, sexism, and colonialism. Her scholarship has deepened public understanding of how Mi'kmaq governance functioned long before imposed structures shaped by church and state disrupted those systems. She has shown how these disruptions sidelined the role of women, and she has been a key figure in recovering and restoring that knowledge. Her leadership is not theoretical. She challenged entrenched norms when she became the first woman to serve as district chief for the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq. Her presence in that role made visible what has always been true, that women have played central roles in Mi'kmaq political life and carry knowledge that guides communities forward. Her influence reaches beyond governance. Dr. Pictou is a respected voice in fisheries justice, an area where she has shown that human rights, treaty rights, and sustainability are woven together. She has consistently advocated for Mi'kmaq participation in international and national fisheries forums, pushing systems to become more equitable and more accountable. She has created spaces for dialogue between Indigenous and settler harvesters, helping people understand how fear, misinformation, and racism can shape conflict on the water. Her work invites people to see one another as human beings, to engage in solutions that honor rights while building a shared future. She has also led important research on the experiences of fisher women, documenting the barriers they face and the sexism that limits their ability to exercise their treaty rights. Through these efforts, she has helped Mi'kmaq women claim authority in a sector that has long excluded them, reinforcing connection between gender justice and Indigenous rights. Dr. Pictou is known internationally for her scholarship, particularly on Indigenous-led governance and natural resources. She has contributed to global discussions on food sovereignty, decolonial research methods, and Indigenous sovereignty. Her work as a Canada Research Chair at Dalhousie University has helped shape a generation of thinkers who understand that the health of lands and waters cannot be separated from the health of communities. She does all of this with generosity and humility. She teaches through example, through research, through mentorship, and through the everyday acts of making space for others to lead. Her work strengthens Mi'kmaq communities, honors the leadership of women, and shifts the public conversation about rights and responsibilities in our province. Dr. Sherry Pictou is a deserving recipient of the Wolugun Award. Her leadership reflects courage, clarity, and care, and her contributions continue to shape a more just future for all. I would like to welcome Dr. Sherry Pictou to say a few words and accept her award.
Wow, after that introduction, I didn't know if I could get up here and speak or I wanted to cry. I want to say thank you so much to Brian for the honors song, for the wonderful drummers, and for Elder Deb for opening up these ceremonies. I'm so very honored. I made a few notes, and now you'll understand why these notes. I didn't want them to go wasted. I'm very honored to be nominated and to receive this Wolugun Award for my work and attempt to advance Indigenous and human rights for the Mi'kmaq and Indigenous people globally. It's been a roller coaster of a ride to get here, and that's why I didn't want to waste these notes. First, I was supposed to be out of the country. I was supposed to go to Japan, where there was just that earthquake, and that got changed last minute. So then I was obligated to go to the meetings that I should have been if I hadn't been in Japan. And so they were going to set me up with a link, and I was going to join you virtually. And then the organization that I was attending the meeting, they says, no, we'll let you off early. And I said, last minute, I said, oh, I can come in person. So it must have been my destiny to be here, and I am just overwhelmed with gratitude, and I'm so glad I made it. And so, you know, if I went to Japan, I was going to do a video and a link. So these are some of my notes. My experience over 25 years in advocating for Mi'kmaq Indigenous human rights involves several roles that I've carried. One was being leader for my community, a fish and treaty rights activist, as you heard, a community-based researcher, policy analyst and consultant, and more recently, in my old age, professor at Dalhousie University. My community and international work extend into my academic career as an Indigenous scholar, culminating into my current roles as a Tier 2 Canada Research Chair, as you heard, in Indigenous governance, and as a co-principal investigator in a New Frontiers Research Fund grant called ARAMAT, Biodiversity Conservation and the Health and Well-Being of Indigenous Peoples, and this is a global project. My role as Honorary District Chief for the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq aligns well with this work. Through both my community and academic work, I remain committed linking Indigenous governance issues to research, or I should say, linking the needs of my people to research. When I think about how the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was established after the World Wars in 1948 and the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission in 1967, I cannot help but think of the timing regarding the experience of my people. For those of you who do not know, the Indigenous people of Canada were considered wards of the state. They weren't even considered humans. They didn't have the right to vote. They had no political rights, and this was even more detrimental for Indigenous women. In fact, women couldn't even run in their own council elections until 1951. Now, I know for those young ones, this seems like forever ago, but it's not all that long ago in my mind. And despite this, and not only receiving the right to vote in 1960, but despite this, many Mi'kmaq Indigenous people, both men and women, fought in both world wars. So we have come a long way, yet, as you've heard, our work isn't finished. Indigenous women and 2S LGBTQ+ peoples are still struggling. Fishing is one area. And I think a lot of that has to do when you look at the natural resource sectors and how they're being managed and exploited in mainstream society, it's pretty well male dominated. And so for women to exercise their treaty rights, it's almost like a double discrimination, if you will. And for those of you who do not know, we had the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's and Girls Final Inquiry Calls to Justice released in 2019. This was followed by the release of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit Plus Action Plan. And then we had the release of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People Act, or that passing of that act. And in that preamble of that act, it stated that the Government of Canada is committed to responding to those calls of justice, and the implementation of the declaration must include concrete measures to address injustices, combat prejudice, and eliminate all forms of violence, racism, and discrimination, including systematic racism and discrimination against Indigenous elders, youth, children, women, men, persons with disabilities, and gender diverse persons, and Two-Spirit persons. Yet, according to the Assembly of First Nations, as of 2024, only 2 of the 231 calls to justice have been implemented. Moreover, there is great concern with Indigenous people, Mi'kmaq, the Wolastoqey people throughout Atlantic Canada, the slow pace that this declaration on the Indigenous Rights Act is being implemented. And I invite you to read Senator Paul Prosper, to us he's known as PJ Prosper, his Reconciliation report of 2025. And there you will learn just how much work we need to do. Thus, to me, this award is so important, and it's so important that the Human Rights Commission continue to carry out its work. And in fact, my grandmother was acknowledged for her work in the 1970s, and she was a former chief as well. And this is a full come circle moment because I knew Rocky Jones as well. So I'm an old lady. And I went back to school quite late in life. So I'm honored to be a part of this work as an Ulnu Mi'kmaq woman, and I'm so humbly grateful to receive this Wolukwin Award, acknowledging ongoing work of not only myself, but many, many people. And I'm so truly honored to be here. Walalio, and thank you for this award. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Dr. Sherry Pictou. Before we present the final award of the day, I'd like to speak briefly about modernization. As you may be aware, the province, through the Department of Justice, is leading a modernization of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission and a review of the Human Rights Act. This is the first time in decades that government has committed to such a significant update to how the Commission protects the human rights of Nova Scotians and resolves discrimination complaints. This work is happening now because Nova Scotians have been clear that the system needs to work better. People have told government and told the Commission that human rights processes must be more accessible, more transparent, and more responsive to the realities that people are facing in their schools, in their workplaces, in their communities, and in their homes. The human rights landscape has grown more complex. We are grappling with systemic racism, ableism, homophobia and transphobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and gender-based violence, as well as the continuing impacts of colonialism. We are confronting these realities and seeking to address discrimination in a more coordinated, more accountable way. Modernizing the Commission is part of that broader shift. It's about having a commission that can meet the needs of this moment with the tools and processes and mandate that the people of Nova Scotia need. Inside the Commission, staff have already started this work. In recent years, we've overhauled our internal processes using Lean Six Sigma methodologies. We've invested in training and capacity building to ensure that our services are culturally responsive, trauma-informed, and restorative. The modernization process led by Department of Justice looks at the entire system, from the legislation itself to how complaints are managed, how people are supported in the process, and how we balance dispute resolution with education and prevention. The stories that we're celebrating today through the Human Rights Awards remind us why this is so important. The people and organizations that we honor today are pushing institutions to be braver and bolder and more accountable. Modernizing the Human Rights Commission is one way that we're answering that call, so that our laws and our processes and our public systems keep pace with the courage and persistence of the communities that we serve. I would like to now call upon the Commission Chair, once again, Shauna Paris, to present the final award of the day, which is the Group or Organization Award.
Thank you, Joe. This award is presented annually to a group or organization whose collective action serves to protect dignity, advance equity, promote inclusion, and raise awareness of human rights in Nova Scotia. For more than 40 years, L'Arche Cape Breton has been a steadfast presence centering the voices and experiences of people and the intellectual disabilities, reminding communities across the island that inclusion is not an inspiration but a shared responsibility. Since its founding in 1983, the organization has grown into a vibrant network of homes, programs, and relationships that place dignity, autonomy, and belonging at the heart of everyday life. Today, L'Arche Cape Breton supports more than 90 people, including 26 core members who live in 6 homes, and many others who participate in seven-day programs across Inverness, Victoria, as well as Richmond counties. The scale of the work is significant, but its strength comes from something more elemental. It comes from relationship that is grounded in respect and shaped by understanding that people with intellectual disabilities contribute immeasurably to the social and cultural life of this province. The mission of L'Arche Cape Breton reflects this understanding. They work to make known the gifts of people with intellectual disabilities through relationships that transform everyone involved. They foster communities that adapt to changing needs while staying true to the values that have guided them for generations. They engage across cultures and backgrounds in service of more than just human society. These commitments are visible in the way that the organization itself leads. Their influence stretches well beyond those they support directly. L'Arche is widely known as a strong advocate for removing barriers to participation, for highlighting the agency and autonomy of people with intellectual disabilities, and for reinforcing that equality is inseparable from community life. Their leadership has been particularly clear in their work related to a human rights remedy in Nova Scotia. They have helped the public understand the history behind remedy and systemic discrimination and the systemic discrimination it seeks to address. At their annual Springfest gathering, community members presented a movable tablet that traced the story of support for people with intellectual disabilities and the changes that led to the human rights decision. It was not simply a performance. It was a public education in its most accessible and humane form. L'Arche has been unwavering in its message that the remedy is essential and that its implication must remain a living conversation. L'Arche Cape Breton's impact extends beyond disability inclusion. The organization has welcomed and employed people from around the world and helped many newcomers build permanent lives in Cape Breton. They celebrate multiculturalism and strengthen community ties that through simple acts of hospitality and shared work. In 2024, they were recognized as a Welcoming Spirit Award from the Cape Breton Local Immigration Partnership, the first organization on the island to receive this honor. That recognition reflects their broader contribution to a more welcoming as well as inclusive Cape Breton. L'Arche Cape Breton has spent decades showing what human rights look like when they are participated in daily life. Their leadership is quiet at times, but it is consistent, generous, and deeply rooted in community. Today, we honor L'Arche Cape Breton with the Nova Scotia Human Rights Award in the group and organization category. Their example continues to guide this province toward a more just and inclusive future. I'd like to now invite the Executive Director, Muhtar Limpau, community leader for L'Arche Cape Breton, to say a few words and to accept the honor on behalf of the organization. Please join us.
The work that we do is not done by one person alone. So my name is Muhtar Limpau. I'm the community leader and executive director of L'Arche Cape Breton. And with me are members of L'Arche Cape Breton. It's such an honor to be here with all of you champions of human rights. And it's humbling for us to accept this recognition as the 2025 Human Rights Award in group category. But this recognition does not belong to us alone. This recognition belongs to every person who walks through our doors, those with intellectual disabilities, their families, the diverse group of assistants or staff, the volunteers, and the many neighbors who have opened their hearts and homes to us. Together, we have built a community where inclusion, choice, and the right to belong are not ideals, but they are everyday realities for us. Our work is rooted in the belief that every individual holds a unique gift, and that those gifts enrich all of us, whether they come from a person living with a disability, from a newcomer arriving from across the world, or from anyone whose cultural background adds a new thread to the fabric of shared life. By celebrating each person's value and ensuring every voice is heard, we affirm that we are stronger, kinder, and more whole. This award inspires us to keep welcoming, to keep listening, and to keep learning, and to continue creating spaces where everyone, regardless of ability, disability, race, or origin, that we can live fully in our communities. Thank you for believing in our mission and for walking this path with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, and congratulations once again to L'Arche Cape Breton. As we bring our program to a close, I'm going to invite all of the award recipients to come to the front of the room once we've finished for a group photo, if you would, please. It is a genuine honor for me to host this awards ceremony each year and to meet and learn from all of the awards recipients and to share this space with all of you. The work of the Human Rights Commission to promote and protect human rights is part of a much larger system in Nova Scotia, one that's shaped by individuals and organizations who advance equity and fairness through their everyday actions. Human rights advancements rarely appear fully formed. They grow from the steady, grassroots efforts of individuals and community organizations like the remarkable recipients that we recognize today. Thank you for your commitment to human rights, to equity, and to the inherent dignity of all people. I would like to thank the Halifax Central Library for hosting us. They are always such a wonderful partner and venue, so thank you to the Halifax Central Library. We are going to hear just one more time from the drummers from home, but let's give them a big round of applause. I would also like to give a special thank you to Jeff Overmars for once again coordinating such a beautiful Human Rights Awards ceremony. Thank you to everyone who's joined us in person today, and for the folks who've joined us online. It's been a pleasure. My hope is that each of us will leave here today inspired by the stories that we heard to continue advancing the cause of human rights. Walalyok, thank you. So the drummers from home are going to close us out, and then if we could have the award recipients to the front, that would be wonderful. Thank you.